Hello. What is up? Oh my goodness. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Or at least I'd like to think so, if it wasn't so damn hot outside. But what is up, guys? Hopefully everyone's doing alright. We are back to painting, but there are things to discuss. First off is this. If you are neither on Twitter or my Discord server, you would have seen that I had to go to the hospital. Well, just doctor's appointment, just a physical and stuff like that. But while I was there, I had to have some lab work done and have an x-ray done. And it turns out this is busted. So my wrist is fucked. Which is unfortunate. Unfortunately, the ortho guys, when I was there, were out to lunch. So I just took off and, I was watching something in, pimple popping video. I'm weird like that. Anyway, so I am, so they just sent me home and I'm like, I could have just waited. But the thing is that it was probably a good thing I went home because I hadn't eaten at all. Because I had to have blood work done. And anytime you have blood work done, you have to have, you have to have fasted. So I hadn't eaten. I had woken up at 6 in the morning that day. So it was kind of a rough one. So the prognosis is as follows. I have a fractured left wrist, the same wrist that I fractured as a kid. This is not my first time at the rodeo. As you can see, I've already got like perfect function of my fingers. I can still lift stuff. It's not a bad fracture. But you'll notice as I tilted that back, I couldn't like rotate my wrist very well. That's basically all that's happening. So it is what it is. Weird as that video was. Yeah, I know. I don't know why I'm fascinated with videos like that. But anyway. But yeah. So this was injury number 1. The other one is my knee, where I re-injured another area. Specifically the meniscus in my right knee. So I have a meniscus tear on the outside of my right knee. I have a busted wrist. And I'm looking at about 3 to 6 months recovery, which is unfortunate. I was hoping to start an exercise plan, but I'm not going to be able to do it. There's not much that I can do with a fucked up leg and a fucked up arm. So I have to figure that out. You know, one thing I thought about doing, just doing planks. Just do that. Just plank for a while, then just lay there, recoup for a minute. Do it again, lay there for a while, recoup, and just do that over and over again until I'm like want to die. Maybe that's what I'll do. We'll find out what happens when that's the only exercise you can really do. That and sit-ups. So yeah, I hope I have a speedy recovery too. I'm already planning out like how I want my diet to go to help the recovery process. One thing I've learned is that what really helps is things that are foods that kind of renew the collagen in your body, because that's largely what your tendons are made out of. So that'll help with that. So I've been eating a lot of Greek yogurt. So that's been a nice, like, I do that for breakfast now every day. And then the other thing that basically I just saw is lots of milk, lots of protein. And then I'm going to cut down significantly on breads. And I think the only carb I'm probably going to eat for the next couple of months is just going to be rice. So yeah. What am I doing to myself? Falling down at an advanced age. Well, I say advanced. I'm 40, but yes, the in hauling up my air conditioner, I took a bad spill. So that's what happened to Will. Um, Johnny Teeth says, been a while. Birthday was a week ago, 29 pushing 30. Enjoy that last year, your 20s while you can, dude, and happy birthday. Um, I kind of missed that time of my life, to be blunt with you. But yeah. So what we got going on today is we are going to try to get more done on the Stark Jegan that we were working on. So last I left this thing, before I got busted up, we were right here. So we've got the arms finished, the missile pods are done, the extra armor is done as well. All in all, we don't have the backpack done yet, but we need to get the waist done, the legs done, and then the backpack, and then it's basically finished. So, and then after this is done, we're going to move on to doing the Rigsy custom. So, I'm super stoked to get to do that one. So yeah, so we've made good progress with it. I really like the look of this paint scheme that we picked for it. So, I'm just going to set him right here. One thing that almost panicked me was I almost lost a part, and I'm like, oh god, it's a small part. And then I just gave it a day, and then it's like, then I found it. So I was really, really worried that we were going to have to put a delay on this thing. So we got that. Last thing, if you're wondering what the super chat goal was for, I'm just basically going to do it every time we do a stream. If we hit it, we hit it. If we don't, we don't. It's not a big deal. So let's go ahead and get started. I am going to have to keep the air conditioner on. Try and keep it nice and cool in here. So, can you guys hear that by chance? I want to make sure that you can or cannot. If you guys can't, please do let me know. If you can, please let me know. I just need to know if I need to adjust my my noise gate. Yes, no, maybe so. Whatever it is, you can't hear it. Okay, it's my air conditioner. I have a I have two. My apartment is big enough to where I need two of the damn things. I have a small one in the window of my bedroom. I have a portable one here in the office. So if you can only hear me, we are good. Let's go ahead and switch over to the hobby desk. Hey, Stephen Choza, what is up? But yes, that has been my week. And I will not lie, it has been not fun. But we'll get through it. So let's wheel on over here. Woo. Let's adjust the camera a little bit too. And last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust the window. I am going to probably end up rearranging my office here in the next couple of weeks. but I needed to be able to see the chat. Okay. So Steven Choza had a question. What are my opinions on fan fiction? I am not a fan of it. It has never been something that I enjoyed. In my opinion, it is, some people try to say it's a good way to learn how to write. It is not. It is a terrible way to learn how to write. And the reason is that you're not really being creative. Not really. And that's a strong statement, I know. But this is me you're talking about. I already make strong statements. Oh, to put my gloves on, I'm gonna have to take off my wrist brace. Hold on a second. But anywho. The thing about fan fiction is that all you're really doing with it is smacking toy soldiers together with words. And I would argue that's not really a creative sort of a thing. In my opinion, if you want to really learn how to write, the first thing I would advise would be to possibly seek out a mentor. The other thing I would advise is create your own stuff from the ground up. I don't know if that was a bad idea. Glove up. And I don't mean to be mean or anything like that. It's just one of those things where the first thing is you want to pay tribute to a franchise you really like. The next thing you know, you're crying at your desk and listening to watching My Immortal AMVs. It is not a life I would recommend for anyone. Fanfics are only ever good when their stories made to fit within canon and not contradict characterizations, like Zach Krager's approach to Resident Evil. Well, I wouldn't call what he's doing fanfiction. Trust me when I tell you, the mentality for actually being hired to work on a franchise, basically being a contractor, and then writing fanfiction are two very different things. Holy shit! Thank you, Columbia. Dear God. $50 from adherent of Lady Columbia. He says, I passed Police Academy, but I did not make it past FTO Phase 2. So now I have to do a few months as hospital security in Aurora before applying to other PDs again, FML. Other than that, I'm thinking if cop doesn't work out, of going into dental. I have a question for you, Columbia. What is FTO exactly? And honestly, I could think of worse things to do than hospital security. I think that that's actually a pretty good gig. depending on what part of the hospital you're working in. Field training officer. Okay. I've never tried anything like that, so I don't know what all it entails, really. Or really like any pointers as to go from there. But I hope you find success with it, man. I really want you to get in there. I just find it wild that you want to be a cop in the Aurora area. Hello, okay, man? Alright, gotta clean the airbrush a little bit. Personally, one thing I've thought about doing, I haven't concluded on whether or not this is what I want to do, but oh, thank you for another super chat. Steven Chosa says, I only do so as a hobby. Currently writing an IBO fic. As for proper writing, I'm thinking of getting into it, but I need some ideas to work with. Well, I can't give you free ideas. But what I can do is kind of give you an idea of how I have come to certain things. And at the end of the day, learning how to write different stuff, for me at least, came down to figuring out how those genres tick. Oh, getting a little bit of backblast there. For example, some of you in here have actually read my horror books. And from what I understand, they've come out pretty well. There's been people that have enjoyed them. And I thought to myself, what are the things that horrify me? What are situations I would never want to be caught in? And why? And then I just started taking notes on other genres and tried to find spooky stuff. And if I got a little too hardened to the spooky stuff, I sought out more spooky stuff. Okay, let's see if this still backsprays or not. Yep, it's still doing it. There's something clogging up the works, but I don't know what. Oh god, not Aurora. At this point, I'd want to be outside of DuPage, Lake and Cook. Those are terrible. Can't leave Illinois soon enough. I am in the same boat, buddy. I am in the same boat. I have been looking at my options and kind of trying to figure out where I want to go. Still want to move to North Carolina. I was just kind of figuring out where in North Carolina I want to end up in. And the other tricky part has just been finding like a good rental property. One thing I would actually like to do is just find a place where Hatman and I aren't too far away from each other, so we could start doing streams again, because I miss streaming with him. Have I ever heard of Giant Robo, The Day the Earth Stood Still? I have heard of it. I have not watched it, so I don't really have any thoughts on it, one way or the other. I know it exists, and that's just about it. Moved to Arkansas in a poor state than rather be in Illinois. Honestly, yeah, cost of living here in Illinois is fucking awful. Like the median rent in the city I live in 10 years ago was $500. I'm sorry, not the median. The median was like 700, 800. Now it's like 1,200 a month. And when I first moved here, my rent, I shit you not, was $400 a month. Now, granted, it was just for a studio apartment, but it was still, that's still dirt cheap for like a 20, how old was I when I moved here? 25-year-old. So, finished flying my Eagle drones out over Liam's farm. Now I'm gonna hang. Good to see you, Brown. Oh my god. Out of vain curiosity, am I gonna review Eureka 7 someday? Oh yeah, for sure. I've watched a little bit of it. I think it's probably gonna end up interesting as I continue to watch. Dirt cheap like some deeds. Indeed. But yeah, the hope is that I can just find a nice place to rent until I can save up some money for a down payment on a house. But we're not quite there yet. I gotta get my affairs back in order, which I've done a pretty good job of doing, but we're just not quite where we need to be yet. Okay, so we got some priming to do, because we've got interior armor pieces, we've got outer armor pieces, we got some things that I'm not sure if I'm going to paint them gold or I'm going to paint them just yellow. Probably gold, looking at it. How did I do it with the main body? I don't remember. Let's have a look-see. These were done, I can tell already. Yep, white primer, gold paint. Okay. So we got that. But anyway. What are you using to protect your camera lens while painting? I'm spraying that direction with a fan on behind the filter. So everything just gets sucked that way and doesn't get on the camera. And if anything does, I'll just clean it. It's not a huge deal. There's not really a whole lot you can do beyond that, but most webcams, because these are Razer webcams that I own, they're pretty well sealed, so I'm not super worried about it. Have I watched G-Reco before? I've watched a couple bits of it, but not a whole lot. But good to see you, Bully Dark Golem. Glad you could get here. God, I can't get any words out. All right, so chat, I got a question for you. What should we discuss first in just sort of discussion that we usually do, the yapping part of these yapping streams? Should we talk about crazy people on the internet, or should we talk about something else? because I have some stuff to just kind of ramble about. Anything but E-drama, says Adam Seeker. I'm going to talk about it a little bit. We can talk about some Vidya. All right. Yeah, we'll talk a little Vidya then. So, I didn't catch all of the announcements and stuff, but I caught some of them. And I will say right now, I am so happy Gears of War is back. Like, seriously. I have been waiting for some new Gears of War stuff. I kind of wanted Gears 6 because I wanted them to kind of finish out that story. I don't dislike Gears 5 as much as everyone else does. I don't even understand why people dislike it. Aside from just they don't hate Diaz as a protagonist, it's like I don't see an issue with her at all. She's not Marcus Phoenix. Who the fuck is? You know? Who the fuck is? But yeah, it's gonna be really cool getting to play as Marcus and Dom again, especially fresh out of one war and into another one. Apparently, the city that they showed off is going to be basically you're playing like a Gears sandbox, sort of like you did in 5. But it's just one city that's fully highly destructible. Like that, I'm super stoked. I'm like, oh yeah, let's fucking go. It is very difficult to rotate my wrist. All right, gonna turn on the fan. And let's just start priming. Is it coming out? It is, okay. But anywho, so that got the hype going for me. It is clogging like a motherfucker. What is going on here? Sorry about this. My fucking brush is not wanting to spray. And I don't know why. Might need to clean out the nozzle real quick. Sorry about this. But there's that. There's Veronica. I'm super stoked about Veronica. Just because I've been loving the Resident Evil remakes. Like well, you know what? Now that I think about it, I've enjoyed every single one of them. Even 3. 3 could have been better, but the first playthrough I had with it was pretty fun. I just wish there was more of it. You know? You could play Halo Combat Evolved Remake at 1440p at 72 frames per second. Is that on a console or is that on or is that just on PC? Because PC I could kind of already do that. I'm assuming it's on console, and if that's the case, they have pulled out some black magic fuckery to get that thing to work. Because I'm pretty sure they're doing that in Unreal. But I could be remembering wrong. It's just the one thing that I have to say about Xbox right now is like with the new CEO and everything, like I've been just kind of looking at what she's doing, and I'm like, perhaps I judged you too harshly. Do I play Total War Warhammer? I own the third game, and I am trying to learn how to Total War. Right now, I suck at it. I am fucking awful. It's the first video game I have ever played in my lifetime that I'm fucking terrible at. So I have to learn how to do it. So I'm gonna try, because the simple fact is, when Total War 40K comes out, I'm gonna want to play that. Because I'm just a 40K nerd. But anyway. There we go, that's better. It was the nozzle. Alright, flashbang coming in, guys. Close your eyes. What do I know of Warhammer Fantasy? I know Summon the Elector counts. I know, I know a Skaven's worst enemy is another Skaven. So I know about the rats a little bit. I know the elves really like their donut. And that's about all I got. That's all I got. Like, I know about Thankful. I do know about Thankful. I will admit that AOS game that's going to be coming out called Deathmaster, the one that's like about a Skaven trying to climb his way up the ranks, that looks really interesting. Just from the concept. Like, so that I will probably give a try. It had one of the most minimalist trailers I've ever seen, and I was just captivated by it from the jump. But at the end of the day, I will never really enjoy fantasy, at least when it comes to Warhammer, more than I will enjoy 40K. It's not happening. I love my Adeptus Astartes too much. Not to mention, I'm of the opinion that in 40K, chaos feels like more of a threat than it does in fantasy. Like, when I heard that fucking Gotrek took out a bloodthirster, I'm like, oh, fuck off. It's the one thing that I tell anybody who asks me about fantasy compared to 40K. It's like, I don't want to hear about how bullshit Malum, or not Mal, well, how bullshit Malum Kaido is, or how bullshit Kato Zacharias is, or fucking Calgar. I don't want to hear it when a fucking dwarf can kill a goddamn bloodthirster. Nah. You want to talk plot armor? That's plot armor. Because that's just fucking stupid. Because at that point, what's the point of calling you a... What's the point of calling you a greater demon? You know? Like, you're not... Greater than what? You got killed by a dwarf. I understand he's a named character and all that, but even so, it's just like... Malum Kaido is... He's a named Ultramarine Stern Guard veteran that might be the company champion. Like, the levels of insanity and strength and power and all this other shit for a character like that is really up there. Not to mention he had a grav cannon when he took out those greater demons, which is a weapon that is supposed to basically turn your size against you. Which, if you were on the ground as an Astartes and you had to fight a greater demon, that is the one weapon you would probably want. But in 40k, like, to solo a greater demon, more often than not, you need to be a Primarch. You know? Because, like, you have Sanguinius defeating Kabanda. You have my favorite, which is the Lion taking out Kairos Fateweaver. Gilliman has taken out several at this point. He took out Scarbrand. So, the Chaos Gods in Warhammer Fantasy are wimps compared to 40k? I would say just the demons. I would say the demons are comparatively wimpy. But to answer a question from earlier, what am I thinking about the Lion and Gilliman meeting? I'm interested to see it. I'm hoping that it's an interesting conversation. There are going to be disagreements between the two of them. I have a feeling the Lion will not be a fan of the fact that the Imperium of Man has an alliance with Eldrad Ulthwé and his Eldar. He will probably be pissed off about that. Because if there's any one person that is like an expert at destroying alien civilizations, it's the Lion. But I just want it to be a really intriguing conversation, and I want it to be left at that. I don't want the fucking bullshit comic book power scaling shit of them fighting. I don't want to see that. I just want a conversation between the two of them. So that's my thoughts on that. How would someone write Malum Kaido's book if his feats in the game were canon? The grav cannon. The grav cannon in Bolt Gun is basically the BFG. Grav cannons are really effective. I think that on the tabletop, grav cannons are anti-monster and anti-vehicle. So it's literally made for giant targets. How do you think the meeting between the Dark Angels and the Blood Ravens are going to be? I'm going to tell you this right now. I have a feeling that this is going to be the reveal that they are Sons of the Lion. I think that that's what's going to happen. I think that GW has finally decided what chapter they are going to be successors of. Which some people will be disappointed because some people are really attached to the idea of them being loyalist Thousand Sons. Which admittedly is kind of neat. But at the same time, if you think about it, fascination with relics, specifically collecting them, and having a lot of librarians, like an expansive librarius, that's the Dark Angels. Several Dark Angels successors are the exact same way. Look up the Relictors. Relictors are a Dark Angel successor that are very similar to our friends the Magpie. But that's what I'm thinking. What is your advice of growing your own audience if you want to one day write books? To be honest with you, I kind of stumbled into it. The one thing that I would just say is be visible. You know, be visible. Do things that will get you noticed. The simple fact is that, and this is something that a lot of people aren't recognizing, the world is not creating new great novelists. It's just not, it's very rare that we're seeing them. You know? So, the best thing you can do is do your work and see if there is a place to publish it with a dedicated audience. I know Heavy Metal Magazine is trying to get going again. I have thought about submitting 3 Nights, 4 Days to see if they would be willing to front the bill for me to get the second half of it done. That would be nice. It's gonna take me a while to really make that kind of money to get that done. I was hoping to get all the funds in line this year, but I don't know if I'm gonna be able to. But that would be what I would do, is try to get them out there, or try to be a social media influencer like me. Those are basically your options. And to be honest with you, the route I have taken has been, as many of you have noticed, been lengthy and extremely difficult. It took me 10 years to get where I am right now. You know? Like, it's been very hard. And even then, having a following on social media is not a guarantee. I hate to say this. Everything Went Black, my most recent novella, it flopped. It flopped hard. I expected there to be hype for it. I expected people were going to be really interested in it. They weren't. And I'm a bit frustrated at that because I worked very hard on that book. But at the same time, that's the writer's experience. You can work super hard on a really, really good project and then throw it out there and then nobody fucking reads it. But you have to just keep at it. You have to keep going. You can't stop, and you can't get you can't really allow yourself to get dissuaded from, oh shit, I did not file that one down. You can't let yourself get too discouraged, because if you do, you will not be able to recover and you'll just end up quitting, and you don't want to do that. You just kind of have to have the attitude of, well, that didn't work, let's try something else. How many chapters should a story have to be perfect? As many as it takes. If you're talented enough, you could tell the perfect story in a chapter, or you could tell a perfect story in 100 chapters. There's no real science to it. It's just about doing what's appropriate for the material. Have a good one, Steven. Sure, we get the underside. Oh, that's not good. It sputtered. Fuck. Alright. Well, that's not good. Yeah, I can just wipe that off. We wipe it off and we try it again. Let me grab a paper towel. Wait, I've already got one. Just kind of do one of these. Sometimes this happens. You get a sputter in the line. All right, let's try to prime that again. And let me... Might be some moisture in the line, too. Oh, yeah, there was a bend in the line, too, so that's not good. There we go. Straighten that out. All right. But the thing that I'm saying to myself right now is, personally, I'm going to just focus on doing comics. But yeah, it's just one of those things, man, where you gotta be able to just keep pushing. Push, 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 push. Give that a good filing. That's much better. Because one thing that I kind of thank my lucky stars for is I've got a pretty good work ethic, you know? Not the best work ethic, but I got a pretty good one. So I don't really let one little thing kind of like slow me down. If I get pissed off, I let myself be angry. But after I spend a little time kind of pissed, I stop and I just reflect. I think about what's pissing me off. Why is it pissing me off? What can I do to fix the situation? What needs doing and when? Did I not? I don't think I filed any of these down. God damn it. Well, today it is painting and filing and yapping. But I've been thinking about other things. Oh wait, never mind. There was some dust on it. That needs to be filed. One thing I've been thinking about doing is learning how to do motion comics. And putting them up on the Grindstone Arts YouTube channel. The problem is I'm not that great of a voice actor, so I don't know if that would work. But that's one thing I've thought about doing. Another thing I've thought about doing was like dramatic readings and things along those lines. Something to get the material out there so people can be exposed to it. I don't know. I gotta think about it. Gotta figure it out. Why do you think that some people take your jokes as if you're serious and literal about them? I think some people just don't have a sense of humor. To be blunt about it. But I also think that there are some people that have fallen into this idea that there are certain things you're just not allowed to joke about. And you're not allowed to make certain kinds of jokes because people might get offended by them. My response is simple. Eat a dick. If I want to make a joke about Wu Fei being a goofy sexist, I am going to make a joke about Wu Fei being a goofy sexist. If I want to make a joke about Eok Kujan Minecrafting himself, I'm going to make a joke about it. Because, let's be honest, nobody liked that dude anyway. So fuck him. In my opinion, if you want to be funny, you gotta be willing to step on a few toes, and you gotta be willing to unabashedly be yourself. If you are neither of those things, it will be very difficult to be funny. And I will tell you this right now. It is very rare you will ever hear me apologize for making a joke. The only times that I have usually are if I make a joke about someone that I know and I went too far. In which case, at that point, I will apologize. But it's not because I am sacrificing the sanctity of comedy or some bullshit. But rather, it's because if I hurt somebody that I care about, I don't want to hurt people I care about. So I do the right thing. But if I'm making a joke about a fictional character and somebody gets offended by it, I don't give a fuck. But yeah, just a lot of people just these days just seem to think having certain senses of humor are indicative of your character as a person, or whether or not you're mean or things like that. It's like, no, it's a fictional character. You know, and the goal of the video is to entertain people. You know, like if there is one big problem that I have with many lore channels, it's that they're just kind of boring. They're very dry. They're not trying to have fun with it. And I'm not going to act like I'm the only person who does it. I mean, Pancreas No Work has a very similar sense of humor to me. Which, I mean, kind of makes sense. We're both Chicagoans. Our first language isn't English, it's sarcasm. If Illinoisans had a superpower, it would be sarcasm vo. So on and so forth. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that. You say you're a master of sarcasm, foo. That's another good one. I'm stealing that one, thank you. Ah! Ran out of primer again. But yeah. Trying to think of what else has been going on. Thankfully, recent internet dramas have not seen my name get brought up too much. So that's been a nice change of pace. Or at least my name not brought up as in I'm the devil, I'm evil, I ruin lives, blah blah blah. Nothing like that. Just been pretty chill. The last one that I heard was just that I'm at the head of a criminal organization. That's wild. Like, I'm a 40-year-old man living in a shitty apartment. Like, I do not have the money that Crime Lord has. It'd be nice. But we're not there yet. But I'm thinking that as it goes on, it will start to calm down again. The individual I'm talking about, my good friend Liam, I'm keeping the olive branch out there to see if he takes it. Basically, it's just don't talk smack about me, and I will reciprocate. Reciprocate? Reciprocate. Gosh. I can't word today, I guess. Which I would like to think is a fair deal. So hopefully he realizes, he wises up. But because I haven't heard him say much about me, except for this this weird claim that like other people recruited me into some sort of like harassment campaign or something. It's like, nah, dude. Not what happened. Not what I'm doing here. My priority right now is just making good stories and putting out good content for people to watch. That's it. That's all I care about. Everything else is window dressing. Yeah. Look at me just dropping stuff everywhere. Jeez. But yeah, it's nice for that to kind of calm down at least a smidgen, at least in my neck of the woods. What's chat saying? Um, you ever thought about doing writing for tabletop game studios? I mean, every other year there is a tryout to write for the Black Library. I plan on doing it next year. When did you start a harassment campaign? Who was time for that sort of thing? Dude, I don't even know. Like, I don't really bug people. It's just one of those things. Some people, things don't go right. Maybe they get a little paranoid and they start seeing ghosts.
That's my theory, anyway. But the individual in question who said I was like the head of a cabal and all that shit, he was a friend of mine at one point. So I am inclined to try to give him a little grace. You know, try to just say, hey, I get you're big mad at me. That's fine. But we're professionals, or at least we're supposed to be. Let's not try to start fucking internet wars. It's really stupid. Because personally, I just want to be left alone to do my work. Why wait to do it this year, too? Well, exactly. Like, to go back to the origins of the recent spat, it's like, why bring me up at all? I'm not fucking with anybody. I write stories and I make videos about giant robots. I'm like, the fuck? I don't know. It's weird. It's just weird. And again, the guy that in question, I hope that he just focuses on focus on your wife, focus on your life, focus on doing the things that you enjoy. Don't worry about anybody else, especially me. I don't care enough. I just don't. I work for a living, you know? Like my answer to everything. Micah, do you know about this? No, I work for a living. It's either that or I had a friend that was fucking obsessed with Kamen Rider. And he would ask me, "Have you heard about this Kamen Rider series?" And I would say, "No, I have sex with women." And I'm not trying to clown on you Kamen Rider fans. It was just my way of clowning on him, because it's like, Tokusatsu's really not my thing, dude. I don't care. If other people want to watch it, by all means, go until your heart is content. Me, I don't care. That is a beautiful shade of red. Um, I have no clue, Columbia. We don't talk anymore. And I have an agreement with him and Optimus that we don't go into the stuff that happened. We had a falling out. Everybody just decided to go their own way. So I have no idea what they're doing. And I don't really have a personal issue with them. I hope that whatever they do, they enjoy. But it will not be done with me around, and that's fine. Just part of life. Sometimes you find friends and they're friends for life. Other times you find friends and they're friends for a few years or something like that, and you just kind of move apart from one another. What was that message that guy just retracted? Oh, he was just wondering if the stream died. Yep, just always refresh. That's usually what's going on. Now it's dead? Let me have a look. Now it's good. Okay. You had me worried. I think it was probably just a YouTube fart. But yeah, as I was saying, that's kind of just the nature of, especially like online friendships. You know? It's one of those things like you don't really know each other in real life. So you don't really have the same sort of connection that you do with other people. You know? I think some people don't kind of understand that it's a different thing to be in front of people. It's a different thing to interact with them physically and things of that nature. But and on a regular basis, I might add. YouTube's been getting worse and worse. Yeah, I've seen quite a few people have some issues with their stream quality and things like that lately. I am considering starting to multi-stream. Um, Specifically to Rumble. I've started uploading videos over there, but I haven't really like mentioned it at the start of a video. But I'm gonna start archiving my videos over there one at a time. I'm not expecting anything out of it because a lot of there's a fly right there, and he just got sprayed with paint. But anyway, um, yeah, the thing about Rumble is like most of the content there is political. So I'm using it just as an archive for right now. But since I have no aspirations to be a political streamer or content creator, I don't really consider it a real alternative. It's a website that's not bringing in the normies, you know? Same with BitChute, it's basically barely anything with politics. And that's sort of the thing. That like a lot of these websites are where a lot of political influencers that got canceled or broke TOS or things like that ended up going, and their audiences followed them. So, but it was almost all political people. There's very few people that are non-political that really get a whole lot done over there. But anyway, looking good, looking good. My favorite JRPG. Oh, God. I would have to say storyline wise, it's a tie between Final Fantasies 6 and 7. Gameplay wise, it's a tie between Final Fantasies 8 and 10. And by 6 and 7, I also, oh God, I did the funny number. For those two particular installments, the reason that, or I also include the remake trilogy of 7 as well. Because I've really been enjoying that. The one thing I've been doing, you mentioned RPGs, I have been piecemeal playing back through Knights of the Old Republic too, with the restored content mod. And unfortunately, I missed out on what I needed to do for the HK-47 quest, for where you find out about the HK-50s and where, like, who was building them and stuff. So, I kind of fucked that up. I might go to an earlier save and backtrack to finish that quest. My filter is sticking out a little bit. There we go. Have a good one, Rocker. Tactics deserves more love. It absolutely does. The remaster they just put out is fantastic. It is very good. It's another, like, I would say for me that's like number 3. I think that one is definitely one that gets overlooked quite a bit. From an era that honestly was something special. Well, considering the same people who did the Resident Evil remakes are Capcom, Leo, I don't think that would work. Like, Resident Evil games are largely done by internal Capcom teams. So that wouldn't happen. I would love to see Parasite Eve get remade, though. It's probably, like, the most underrated biopunk video game in existence. That first Parasite Eve is fucking masterful. Love that game. No! Don't tell me I ran out of the 11th hour. There's still a little bit in there. We're almost done with this waste section, though. We'll probably end the stream by assembling it. If you ever want to get the last bit of paint out of a jar like this, just drop a little bit of thinner in it and just swish a brush around on the inside. You'll get just a little bit more paint out of it. Not a lot, just a little. Just enough to finish the job. There we go. All right. So that's done and dusted. What we're going to do is we're going to chill out for a bit while we let the paint dry. And then we will assemble it. Because splash paints, they are acrylics, so they do dry fairly quick. But not as quick as like Mr. Hobby. Mr. Hobby is very quick drying. It's part of the reason why I like them so much. What is an anime or manga series you think it's overhated? Which one do you think doesn't get enough hate? Well, you know the answer on which one I think doesn't get enough hate. That one's obvious. I think everyone should hate on Gundam Seed all the time. Constant haterade. But I'm trying to think, like, ones that get too much hate. Gundam Wing is a good example. But a lot of the hate for Gundam Wing comes from Gundam 00 fans that are kind of under the impression that you're not allowed to really enjoy both, which is really weird. I never understood the reason for that. So that's all good and sprayed out. Let's clean the needle. Hopefully we don't have to do this again for next week. I think we've been going for almost 2 hours, haven't we? Yeah, just about. We are not quite... we're nowhere near the goal, but at the same time, I got a $50 super chat. I ain't complaining. I do not get those very often. Alright, needle is good and clean. Something you should always do. Alright, the gloves are off. Or coming off, rather. Getting this one off is going to be a little difficult. Oh, there we go. Ow, 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 ow. Okay. Beautiful. Alright, let me switch cameras. And move the microphone over as well. What is the goal for? Think of it, $2, Antoine. The goal is to continuously grow the evil criminal empire of Micah. Because don't you know I'm the kingpin? I'm even bald. I did this today. And you know what? It actually looks pretty good. I think that I can get used to this. Oop! I forgot to turn off my airbrush. But we're going to let that kind of... We're going to let that... all those paints dry. But, Leo, that is a really good question. Do I think that it can be toxic? I think so, yeah. I think it blinds people sometimes. The thing about nostalgia is like, it's a hell of a drug. It really is. It kind of makes it hard to see the faults in something. And it's especially rough if you're like a critic. You know? Because it can really hurt your credibility if you're not willing to take the blinders off every once in a while. Yeah, literally The Force Awakens. I didn't like The Force Awakens at all. Like, it was alright. It was okay. But compare it to Jedi Knight 2 or Jedi Academy, nope. Nowhere near as good. Like, yeah, it has nicer graphics, but the gameplay is nowhere near where it needed to be. Like, lightsaber fights in Jedi Knight were intense. Fucking intense. And it's a great level design and God, the fucking Cloud City level in Jedi Knight 2. Oh my god. It's so good. It's so fucking good. We will never see a Star Wars game like it again, sadly. Because they won't let Raven work on that sort of thing. They are in the Call of Duty mines forever and ever. Not unless someone at Microsoft says, "Hey, we just got a contract with Disney, make a Jedi Knight game." Which it would be nice to have Kyle Katarn back in canon. That'd be cool. Thoughts on Necromunda Hired Gun? I have not played it, so I don't have an opinion. I know it's basically the guys who did Deathwing and did I Divine Cybermancy, basically trying to do their best like Doom Eternal impression, from what I've heard. Hmm. Oh, fuck. Oh, that was necessary. Oh man. Ugh. You guys probably didn't hear that, but my neck just went. Oh, that was nice. Now it can move again. Okay, so I believe that we have given this enough time to dry. So let's go ahead and assemble, shall we? What we'll do, bring the sticks over here, and I will chat while I assemble this. So, I believe how this went was. Am I reading anything at the moment? Not really. I've been wanting to. Actually, that's not true. I've been listening to the audiobook for Courage and Honor. GOG1158 for $2 says Pete Kit. Thank you very much. It is. I very much enjoy any Jegan I can get my hands on. The first build I did of one, I actually had it fully painted and assembled in 24 hours. So easy snap. What I'm just doing, basically, is just assembling the armor. And it came out looking pretty good. That's the back armor. Then we have the cod piece. Grab the stuff that I need for it. Would I rather pilot a Leo or a Geno Ace? The Geno Ace. I'm trying to remember what that was from. Gundam Age? Oh, I haven't watched Age, so I couldn't tell you. This is missing something. There's supposed to be something that goes on around it. And I forgot to clip it out. So we're gonna miss that part of the assembly today, but that's fine. Now we have the hip armor itself. In which case, if I remember right, with this one, did I put together the wrong hip assembly? I feel like I'm missing something here. Hold on a second. Where's the manual? Whoa. Everything's falling everywhere. Hold on one sec. There it is. Oh, that's for the air conditioner. There it is. Okay. Yep, I forgot some pieces. Shit. Well, looks like it's not getting completely assembled today, but we'll assemble what we can of it. So this one. Have you gotten the white Kingpin suit yet? I have not made enough money recently to afford a new suit, sadly. But I will probably get one just for the laughs. That and it would make a good Halloween costume. Yeah, I'm definitely missing some stuff. Alright, well, in that case... Oh, wait, no I'm not. They're right here. I'm just a dork. There we go. So anyway... I should probably mention what the next videos are going to be, shouldn't I? What I'm going to be writing tonight and tomorrow. I have a video that I promised a long time ago that people said would be great to see, and it is called In the Mind of Treize Kushranada. There's one of the side armor. And basically it's going to be just like a breakdown of Treize's worldview. And talk about what makes him tick. I have a feeling that some people are going to get big mad about the video because I'm going to end up calling Trey's a fascist. But he is. Thank you, Antoid, for another $2. Says looking forward to it. Where'd the here we go. But I got that one cooking. But I do have to call Trey's that. He is one. But he's not like funny mustache fascist. Trey's is a Italian fascist, which takes a lot of its inspirations from a book supposedly by Nietzsche called Will to Power. Very might makes right philosophy. And then effectively, I can kind of see green through this. This needs another coat of paint. So, actual philosophical distinction. The masses be not ready. I know, right? But the big thing I'm just going to have to tell people is like, look, he's the bad guy. Like, Trey's is a great villain. He's a phenomenal villain. But he's not a good person. He has a couple of, like, interesting and admirable qualities. He's very chivalrous. He believes in a fair fight. He believes that you need to be willing to fight and die for what you believe in. Like, those are traits that people would consider positive, but that's what makes him an interesting villain. But some people just get big mad whenever you bring up that particular term, because a lot of people have misused it in the past. You know, this one could use another coat of paint too. Okay, so we didn't get everything done I wanted to get done today. That's okay though. We're gonna repaint a couple of things. Well, not repaint, but give it another coat. I will do that off camera. But we got some good pieces done. We're going to nip out the last bits that I'm missing. And then whenever I am, or you guys will see the results next week. Because next week we will probably be painting either the legs of the backpack. Yes, there will be a Gundam Explained for Double Zeta. My hope is to get the first episode out this month. But it's going to have to be something I chip away at, and I've just been so goddamn busy that it's just been very hard to really nail it out. Have a good one, Leo. Okay, so apparently I needed A2. That's B. That's A1. There's A2. So I needed A2 13. So let's... did I put my nippers away? I think I did. Yep. Dig those out. Love the designs from Double Zeta, but the story is early rough to get through on rewatch. I'm gonna have to say to each his own on that one. I personally really enjoy the early stuff from Double Zeta. It's very funny. The double nip did not work that well that time. I can file this down. Be bashing a 105 Dagger, Dagger L, and Wyndham together, paying them to look like Soundwave. Cosmic Area Inferior, Universal Century Superior. Ain't that the truth? Yeah, the Colony Drop fight in Double Zeta is phenomenal. It's properly disturbing. And one thing I specifically like about it is in that fight, they bring back the track Riders in the Sky from Zeta Gundam to kind of show the show is moving into a much darker place than what it was prior to that. Man, those are some really rough nipper things. Fuck. Oh, man, the plastic got a little fucked here. Well, see if I can smooth it out as best I can. I'm just gonna have to surface it a couple of times to really get it where it needs to be. Yeah, it's not bad. Not terrible. I'll make it work. Yeah, the comedy in Double Zeta is necessary if you're coming up the heels of Zeta. Just because some people forget that I think Double Zeta aired like right after. So you're going from the absolute fucking depression fest of the last episode of Zeta into a brand new television series. It's like you kind of need the balance. Heck, I'd argue not even kinda. Because some people forget, like, even the original Gundam had slapstick in it. Okay. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the rewatch for sure. It's gonna be a blast. Are there any other pieces that I was missing off of this before we head out? L139. That's M. What's L? That's J. Oh, we are at the point where I am trying to organize runners with a busted wrist, and it's not comfortable. That's N. What was L? I don't remember the L runner. Was it a yellow one? Yes, okay. Ow. No, this is an F. What the fuck? What is the L runner? Multicolored. Okay. Found it. I hate it when this happens right here. Where they get stuck on, like, where you've nipped them before. Drives me up the fucking wall. Was it L1 or L2? It's L1, okay. L1 39. Fair enough. Alright, those will get painted white. I think I'll paint the other one red. Well, actually, no. Red wouldn't work. Probably paint it gray. I see your red door, and I want to paint it gray. Wait, that's not the lyrics. I see a red door, and I want to paint it black. No colors anymore, I want them to turn black. And then I don't remember the rest of the lyrics. Hello, Zeta Shock Blast, what is up? Funnily enough, I'm going to be releasing 2 versions. Whenever I've already figured this out. Whenever I do my mecha series, what I'm going to do is, the trailer to it will be set to paint it black. Because I will tell you all right now, the Argonauts, whenever it drops, it will be very tonally similar to Zeta Gundam. Well, to Zeta and to also to some Western war stories. In a sense, what I'm going to be writing the story as is people who already like real robot stories are really going to love it, but it's going to be a really good entry point for people who are interested in that might be interested in mecha but haven't really tried out a Gundam styled sort of a thing. Thoughts on Apex Legends? Anything? I don't really like Apex. I played a bit of it with a friend of mine, but I'm not a fan. I just don't like Battle Royale. But for people that are Gundam fans that played it, you know, it's nice. All right. Well, I've got 3 more pieces to paint. I will do those probably later tonight or tomorrow. But I don't think I'm going to stream again to do them. Usually I just like to go for a couple of hours. But so far, this kit is coming along quite nicely. Really, really enjoying painting it. Get these up on the sticks. I think, honestly, what I would like to do, though, after I do the Rigsy custom, I want to do a 40K mini. Specifically, I want to do, like, a librarian or a, or just some intercessors, just to learn how to paint them. Actually, I think that's what I'll do. I'll probably get a box of intercessors, and we'll just try it out. What do you guys think? Didn't Amuro pilot the Rigsy custom? It was supposed to be piloted by him, but he never got around. He never was able to. But anywho, we are going to call that here. It has been a couple of hours. I'm gonna probably go eat dinner. So, what we'll do next Thursday, same time, 4:00 Central Standard Time. I want to thank all of you who were generous with your super chats as well. Especially that $50 one. Holy shit. That's nice. Just thank you very much. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and take off and just kind of enjoy the rest of the evening and hunker down a bit. It's supposed to start storming here in the next like hour or so, I think. I can already smell that there's like rain coming in. So and the humidity has been climbing. I can see the wind starting to blow outside. So we got a storm coming in, so I don't want to be streaming while that's going on. So I appreciate all you guys for coming in, hanging out with me. Have yourselves a great rest of your day and a good weekend, and I will see you guys next week. Ow! Fuck. My wrist.